The Rebel Capitalist Show.
You started selling real estate as a real estate agent, and this was probably...
I think that was in 2004.
Oh, was it? I thought that. Well, okay, so but then maybe the last 5 years or so, you've really started to find your niche where you're focusing on the Sun City area,
Yeah.
Vegas. And what I think is interesting about that is that really didn't, or that area really didn't see much of a downturn during the GFC or the last housing crisis we had. You saw consistent demand. Am I correct?
Well, yeah, you know what? I'll tell you, George, in 2008, when the crash happened, and I just spent most of my time doing short sales.
Yeah,
And
right.
I wasn't living in Sun City at the time. However, I had done some work here. I had sold some properties here. But one of the things that I noticed is that the outlying areas where you had people who were working, who were employed, the property values just probably dropped by 50%. And the property values in the age-restricted communities that I watched, they went down a little. They went down some. Most of them went down like so. They went down like so.
Right.
And so it was just a more stable community. And of course, the thing that I reasoned through is that the people who own the properties, a lot of them paid cash. Probably maybe 30% of them anyway paid cash. And a lot of them were stable, they were retired and they had their funds to go. So there were very, very few foreclosures and short sales and age-restricted communities, particularly here in Sun City and also over at Anthem, certain communities, where you had the more expensive properties.
Yeah. So what have you seen going on with the Vegas market in general over the last 2 or 3 years, or maybe more specifically in 2020, and then compare that to what's going on in Sun City more specifically?
Well, right now, I mean, we just overall in Las Vegas and Clark County, the inventory is down so much. It's just unbelievable. In fact, I've got a chart here showing you. And so the inventory is just down substantially. I think maybe we got, as I recall, like 4,000 houses in all of Clark County. We've got 2,200,000 people in Clark County. So the inventory is down. In Sun City, Summerlin, the average, the normal properties for sale are over 200. That's normal. That's like a 6-month turnaround time. That's between the time it goes on the multiple listing website until it completely closes escrow and records.
Right.
That's normal, 6-month turnaround time. But we have got a total, the last time I looked a couple of days ago, of 36 properties for sale in Sun City.
Wow, geez. So why is that? Why do you think?
George, people are getting out of California.
So it's the demand side. It's not the supply side.
Well, and then also the supply side too, because a lot of people, particularly probably in your age-restricted communities, they really don't want people because of the virus. They don't want people coming in and out of their house. Right. They're concerned about that. But it's really created a real challenge trying to find properties for people.
So I would imagine the prices have really shot up there over the last year.
They have gone up substantially. In fact, one of the things that I wanted to show you is looking over at the Ridges area.
Oh, yeah.
And when you take a look at that, George, the last year, the Ridges area for those houses that were listed for, I don't know, say 900,000 and above, I can't remember the exact numbers, went up 26%.
Wow, because see, that's what we've been hearing. There's been a lot of downward pressure on those higher priced homes, but in some areas, depending on just where people want to gravitate towards, maybe they're going up as well.
Well, I think that what's happening is the people who've got the money are coming out of the high tax states, and they're coming in and they're buying the high quality properties here. And Fiddlesticks, they sell something for $15 million there, and they can buy that same property for like $5 million here.
Yeah, especially if they're coming from San Francisco or Silicon Valley, Palo Alto, or some places in LA. That makes a lot of sense. So how do you see it playing out? I mean, if I'm someone right now that has some disposable income, or I've got some liquidity and I'm looking for an opportunity, but I don't really want to go into the stock market. I like real estate, and I hear this all the time, but it's like, where do you go? It just seems like every place is in a bubble. I mean, do you think that like investing in a property in Sun City and renting it out, if there's an opportunity there that might have a little less downside, or I mean, what's your opinion?
Let me give you an example of a friend of mine who has a rental house here in Sun City.
Okay.
She had owned it for quite a while. It needed to be updated. She had a budget of $10,000. She upgraded it. She put laminate flooring, about 1,100 square feet. It was a small house,
Yeah.
but a really good location, a nice location, low traffic, and that sort of thing. And so she completely replaced the flooring with laminate, did all the painting on the wall, changed some of the light fixtures. Her budget was $10,000, and she fixed that up. She ended up turning and renting it for $1,650 a month. And I was figuring out based on, and I mean, that property now would sell for about $300,000, I would guess. So based on that, that's a 0.066%, which is, not too bad.
Right.
Particularly considering that you've got a stable person that's coming in to rent that house, because here, when you're age-restricted communities, you've got a much more stable tenant than you do in a lot of other areas.
Right. They're not going to trash the place, that's for sure.
Right.
They're most likely going to pay rent. Yeah. So the RV ratios are still quite a bit lower than the 1% that we.
It's hard to get 1%, George. Don't you think? I really do. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you remember when I first got involved with real estate back in 2012, when I was buying in Kansas City. I mean, a typical property I'd buy, remember, was about 50 grand. I'd throw 25 into it. So my cost basis was maybe 75,000. And I was renting those out all day long for $1,000 a month.
They turned out to be delightful properties. You remember I went over there and you were showing me around, and boy, they really look nice.
Yeah, most people, I say I bought a house for $50,000, put 25 into it, so your cost basis is 75, and they think it's just some piece of garbage in the ghetto that you wouldn't be caught dead within a mile of. But you don't understand, back then the banks were just giving these houses away, and they were in really nice neighborhoods. I mean, they're nothing fancy, but they're a nice ranch, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, call it 1,200 square feet. Good neighborhood, great school district. It's in a very desirable area. And, back then you could get those deals. Now it's just the complete opposite.
Yeah, the pride of ownership neighborhood, and it really showed it. The lawns were well maintained. And they looked really nice, right?
Yeah. So are you helping any investors right now in the Vegas area, or?
Right now, I mean, the inventory is down so far that it's just there's just no motion, there's no movement that's going on. George, in our entire office, which is a satellite office, it's not the corporate office, it's a satellite office, and we've got maybe a dozen real estate agents there.
Right.
We mostly work Sun City, Summerlin. There's only one listing in Sun City, Summerlin. And there's only 2 listings in total. I mean, it's just there's no inventory out there. I'm hoping that I got a couple coming up down the road here, probably in another couple of weeks, actually. But it's just been a real change. I had a listing just outside of Sun City, which is in Summerlin, but just outside of Sun City, and it took a while to sell it. We overpriced it. We knew that it was overpriced a little bit, and finally sold. But
so how do you see it playing out, though, Mom? I mean, are there builders coming in and seeing the opportunity and saying, okay, well, there's a lot of demand, let's meet that with some more supply here so we can make money? Or are the regulations so onerous that they're not able to build at even the existing price point and turn a profit?
Well, no, they are building. There's no question. In fact, actually, this morning I was just looking at the new age restricted, which we call 55 plus communities.
Yeah.
And there are to be 3 of them that are in Clark County that are in construction now. They haven't even started selling.
Okay.
But, George, I'll tell you the thing that I see that I really don't quite understand. I know I was listening to Jason and to Kevin McElroy to their YouTube thing this morning. And they were talking about they think that property values are probably going to go up. And I think that might be applicable in certain areas. However, my thinking is that here in Las Vegas, the people who are employed, they're dependent upon the casinos. We're a service industry community.
Right.
And the unemployment rate now is, I think, around 11%, which I think is probably on the low side based on the statistics that are showing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, and they can do the forbearance all they want. They can do the rent, delay the rents coming in, but at some time that's got to be paid, and they can do all the forbearance. But if these people still don't have jobs at the time they have to start making payments again, all the forbearance in the world isn't going to help them out. So I think that it probably is dependent upon the particular community, and depending on whatever industry is in that particular area. And here in Nevada, we are so dependent on the service industry, then generally and the entertainment industry, and generally that's the last thing to start to go up.
Right. But so it's this weird dichotomy between that creating this downward pressure and then the upward pressure from people fleeing California. So it's like the worse it gets in California, the more bullish or the better it gets for real estate in Las Vegas, oddly enough.
Right. Well, the thing is, though, I think that probably my expectation down the road, George, and I think there are a lot of other realtors that are in agreement with that, is that we're going to start having a lot of foreclosures and short sales. And then, of course, investors will come flocking in and picking properties up. Right now, we have very, very few properties.
Oh, I see, right.
Very, very few that are in foreclosure right now. I think maybe 64 or something, not very many, just a few throughout the whole Clark County.